Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your man DP. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be reacting to the Game Theorists. This video is called Game Theory: The Bloody History of Poppy Playtime. As some of you may know, I've been playing Poppy Playtime lately. It's interesting and pretty scary. But this is gonna tell us a little bit of the lore. You know, some of the background of it. The Game Theorists has a whole playlist of this. Like, how many videos, bro, did they do? Yeah, they got quite a bit of videos, but I'm just gonna watch the first one on the playlist. But yeah, man, shout out to Matt Pat. Anyways, hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are doing well. And without further ado, let's get right into the video.
Doki Doki Literature Club solved. Bendy and the Ink Machine solved. Five Nights at Freddy's solved. Maybe, then kind of retconned and solved again. I don't know, it's kind of solved. Yeah, remains to be seen.
I should watch the Five Nights at Freddy's one. I've never watched it.
Playtime. And with only one chapter available, this thing is ripe for the theorizing. We've seen children's toys and games trying to kill us in the past, but it's never been anything like this. Hello,
Huggy
Internet.
Wuggy.
Welcome to Game Theory, where today I wanted to start off by introducing you to our latest piece of merch. Say hello to the Maddie Pally doll. Maddie Pally, the perfect friend for every theorist.
That's creepy.
That's just a theory. And that's not all he can say. He's actually full of all the favorite catchphrases from the channel. I'm coming to get you, Matt Pat. Oh, okay. Very funny. Who changed the voice box? No one did, Matt Pat. Okay.
Oh, that's creepy.
Matt Pat, and that's no theory. And we're done with that one.
Nah.
Always end up with all the creepy
Go burn it.
Stuff. This is just kind of
Go burn it right
hey,
now.
If you like all things creepy, why not hit that subscribe button? If you don't, well, let's just say that I can't guarantee your safety from whatever scary toys you have lurking around your house. To be fair, I can't really do that even if you do push the subscribe button, but still, pushing that button won't hurt. So, Poppy Playtime, the latest horror craze filling the void of emptiness as we asymptotically approach the release of Security Breach. If there's a formula for indie horror, this thing checks all the boxes. Simple creative gameplay? Check. Horrific childhood playthings? Check. Mysterious hidden lore sprinkled throughout? Double check. So today we're gonna look at the first chapter to start piecing together what's really going on in this game and what's gonna be coming in the future installments. And let me tell you this, while it may certainly look similar to the dozens of indie
I'm in the middle of playing chapter 2 right now.
This one has some unexpected twists that make it all the more surprising and the more terrifying. And I gotta say, for the first time in what seems like forever, there's no malicious AI trying to steal your identity to escape their video game prison by hopping into your body. No matter what else this story entails, big props on being creative on that one. When we boot up chapter 1, we're told that we're taking on the role of an ex-employee of the Playtime company, finally returning to the factory years after everyone mysteriously disappeared inside. If that's not a theorist invite, I don't know what is. What happened? Why are we the ones who remain? One click into this game and already there are so many questions circulating around. So, to start our adventure, we receive a note informing us that these missing employees never actually left the building, alongside a VHS tape that introduces us to the titular character Poppy Playtime, a doll with hair that smells like poppies, weirdly realistic eyes, and the ability to have actual conversations.
She is the first truly intelligent doll in the world. A little girl can talk to her, Poppy gives her answers.
Which, gotta say, is a whole lot of red flags right off the bat. I've played enough horror games over the years to know that when inanimate objects start talking to you, you start running in the other direction. But, I don't know, it's a game. What else am I gonna do? I'm curious, so off to the factory we go. Right off the bat, we find a giant version of the popular Playtime company mascot, Huggy Wuggy. Huh, those cold dead eyes aren't ominous at all. Sure, nothing bad's gonna come from this guy. Now,
look at his smile.
Playtime, there is one thing that immediately stands out. Everyone high-fives Huggy.
High five.
High five, buddy! Hey! High five, man. Let's go.
Even me.
Oh, I didn't high five him.
Apparently, there's just some sort of primal reflex in our monkey brains. Raised hand equals high five.
High five.
From there, we
That's
unlock
crazy.
The second hand of our grab pack. We get to build one of the toys, and look, it's that Muppet reject that we met earlier. Except now he's trying to
look at
kill
his teeth.
us. Oh no! Who could have seen that one coming? I mean, to be fair, it is a legitimately terrifying encounter.
Oof,
Once we manage
super
to escape the
terrifying,
nightmare by
bro.
throwing him down into the factory abyss, we see a large flower on the wall, along with all sorts of warnings warnings about why we shouldn't go through that door,
But we do it
those people
anyways.
clearly didn't know what they were talking about. We plow our way inside and find Poppy herself resting inside a glass case. Without any forethought or
Like
concern for
Annabelle,
our own
the
well-being,
Annabelle
we
doll.
rip open the case because, of course, we do. Do horror games not exist in these universes? We almost died in the arms of this giant Sesame Street reject. Let's just make our presence known to the
Sesame
creepy living doll
Sesame
now.
Street
The lights
reject.
flash, Poppy's eyes open, and we get the final line of the chapter.
You opened my case.
And that's it. Big old cliffhanger for the next installment. But is it just me, or did it feel like there was something more going on here? Who am I kidding? Of course there's something more going on here. This is a modern indie horror game. There's hidden lore all over this thing. For starters, let's rewind a bit to take a closer look at Huggy Wuggy himself. We know from the opening placard that the toy was made in 1984 and became Playtime Company's most popular mascot, but how do you go from this to this? Toys just don't come to life, unless Toy Story was right all along.
This is why I stopped shopping on Amazon, and you should too.
Don't spend another dime on Amazon.
Shut up.
They don't. So what is this thing? Well, for obvious reasons, I immediately jumped to animatronic. But the game actually gives us clues that he's something else entirely. Something
So he's not an
even more
animatronic.
horrifying than we could have
Ooh.
ever anticipated. If you're unfortunate enough to get killed by Huggy during the chase, you get a randomized death screen with a message that ranges from "It's not your time" to "Don't let them inside." But mixed in there is the chance of you seeing one that reads "EXP 1006, isn't he wonderful?" This would suggest that someone is asking
He's
us
an
what we think of their
experiment.
the monster that just killed us. This isn't the only time that we see Huggy referred to by this name either. Throughout the game, we discover VHS tapes with recordings from various
I remember.
factory employees. The last one you were seeing
chapter
is simply
1.
titled Unknown, and on it we hear this
Yeah,
message.
it said that he's an experiment.
1006, the prototype. Coordination and cooperation is evidently within his skill set, though still missing. Today's events are no doubt in relation to him. We must forge onwards in the name of science, whether those who are beneath us understand it or not.
So he's an experiment within the facility that escaped and clearly created an incident within the factory, but this still doesn't explain why I think his creation is different from something like the animatronics in FNAF. Well, in the trailer for the game, we get our first look at Huggy, walking towards us while bits of text flash up on screen. These messages seem to be excerpts from documents of Playtime Co., but before you can read them, most of the text disappears to reveal a new, eerie sentence. But you know I'm gonna pause the video and read all the frame-perfect stuff, right? Most of the vanishing messages cover pretty standard stuff, mostly about grab pack safety. That is, until we get to the 43-second mark of the trailer, where suddenly we have a giant wall of darkened rolling text happening behind the main message. Hold the phone! Things that are hidden in the dark? What is this, a 2015 FNAF 4 teaser image? So, true to form, I do what I do best. I lower the contrast, I up the brightness, and voila, we got this. Experiment 1006, the prototype. He seems serviceable as the prime example for the type of vessel which we're trying to create. Despite his digestive tract being wired properly, the prototype finds no necessity for sustenance, unlike the others. All other experiments can only survive while subsisting on much larger portions. Huggy, as well as these other experiments, has a digestive system. That's not something an animatronic possessed by the soul of a dead child would need. It leads me to believe that Huggy is a living organic creature, not just a stuffed toy turned sentient.
Oh,
Though,
nah.
if we're reading this right, Huggy just kills for fun. He doesn't need to eat, unlike the others. Plus, if we take a look at this scene where you cause the walkway to collapse, Huggy falls into the factory below, hitting 2 pipes along the way. Notice anything unusual? Here's the before and
Blood.
after shot to make it easy
There's
for
blood.
you. See, there's blood on the
Yes, I
pipes.
noticed that.
Huggy bleeds. He is definitely organic.
He's
A literal
organic.
living, breathing
Oh,
monster.
shoot.
But how are they turning
That's
toys into organic
crazy.
creatures? For that, let's actually turn our attention to the perfect toy herself, Poppy. When we're introduced to her in that initial VHS tape, we're told that she's perfect. She has hair that smells like poppies, which, side note, I looked into, and it turns out that poppies don't really have that much of a smell. Unless, of course, you're talking about opium poppies, in which case you're opening up a whole lot of messed up there. In the olden days, opium was used to relax and help you to sleep. No wonder this thing was a hit, especially with the parents, but I'm getting myself sidetracked here. Anyway, the important part of this ad is that a child can have conversations with Poppy and that she can talk back to give answers, which seems like a strange level of AI for a company that was around during the 1950s and 60s. Unless, of course, she's not an AI. In the teaser for Poppy Playtime, we see a tutorial on how to look after your Poppy doll. Near the end of the video, the voice box gets pulled out, and we see that it's dripping with blood. Again, leading me to believe that these toys are actually all organic. But with Poppy, we can actually go one step further and figure out how
This
they've
is,
been made organic.
yo, this is like reminding me of, what do you call it? Shoot. The one thing. Jeez, I forgot the freaking thing.
You see, the hardest secret to find in Poppy Playtime
forgot
Chapter
the-
1 is a pink VHS tape right before the final chase.
I forgot what it was called, man. But it's
Wait,
that,
wait.
the
Oh
one,
my gosh, is that it?
it's like the one lore thing, like, they have different experiments and stuff. And, like, each one has, like, a different ability. I totally forgot what it was called, man.
Did?
But this is what that reminds me of.
No way! Oh my gosh, that was it!
Well done.
Wow! I'm assuming the game really doesn't want me to do this, but I don't care. Because I found the lore. Oh no!
If you manage to find it before getting locked out, the tape shows you an interview with a prospective employee, Stella Graber. She's a woman obsessed with living forever, wanting to be more like a child and longing to bring joy to children like her toys did for her.
Your body just gets older and older, and then you die. Human bodies just can't stay young forever.
This tape feels really random in the grand scheme of things. Like, why would we be shown this? Well, it starts to make much more sense in the context of living organic toys. Based on the way that she talks, Stella would be the perfect candidate for some experiments that Playtime were running. I believe that they used employees, specifically Stella, to make Poppy. Not just transferred her consciousness either, but used her physical body, their digestive systems, their brains, and in the case of Poppy, Stella's eyes. It seems like an extreme leap to make, but look at Poppy's eyes in the video. Tell me that those aren't human. You don't just add capillaries to your cute little doll's eyes. This would also align with the whole bleeding thing. Organic bodies made of flesh and organs that can bleed. It's also worth mentioning that the voice actor for Stella is the same as the voice actor for Poppy. This may just be because of limited voice actors, but it also feels like an interesting detail to call out. If I'm right about Stella and Poppy being one and the same, I think it gives us a pretty good idea of what her part is in the wider story. The general
That would be
consensus online is that Poppy is going to
crazy.
be the big bad. I mean, the game's got her name on it after all, but for me, I'm not so sure. I don't believe that Stella would be mad about being turned into a toy. I think that, honestly, she'd be delighted. She would not be delighted, however, in being locked away in a sealed glass case. Listen to that final line again when we open the glass case at the end of Chapter 1.
Hi there, thank you very much for coming to the support announcement. I ate a bagel today, and I put it in the toaster.
Wait.
You opened my case.
It sounds like a confused but thankful response. By being locked away, she hasn't been able to go out into the world and bring joy to children. It's not much of an existence living inside a tiny box. Believe me, I know, doing this many videos every week, I've become very used to the confined space of my recording closet. Us coming along and freeing her? I think that's gonna be the rescue that she's been longing for. Some of the death messages also lead me to believe that Poppy isn't trying to kill us. Look again at these screens. I need you alive. It's too early to die. Death isn't
So there's,
permanent.
bro.
Who is talking to us in these screens? Well,
It's gotta be, it's Poppy.
She's the only other character that we've been introduced to so far, so if it's not her, it kinda has to be someone else that we haven't really met yet. She's calling out to us. She needs us, and it's not just for her sake either. Another death screen reads, "More lives are at risk than just yours." Whoever this person is, they're hoping that we can help all of the vanished employees. And it doesn't end there. There's one final death screen to call out. This one, which looks like somebody head-desked their keyboard repeatedly, but it actually appears to be Cyrillic characters, or at least approximately close to Cyrillic characters. For those of you who don't know, Cyrillic is the alphabet used for Slavic languages. Places like Russia, Bulgaria, the Ukraine, you know, the countries that give new meaning to the word cold. Who knows, maybe the languages all look this way with the extra accents and swoops because people trying to write them are shivering all the time. Anyway, for it being Cyrillic, it actually looks to be a simple substitution cipher, with different characters representing different characters from the Latin alphabet that we're more familiar with. Notice these two in a row right here? Probably probably EE or OO. Using that as our base and trying lots of different combinations, we can't come to a definitive conclusion. There just isn't enough letters here, but stay, they need help certainly fits the pattern that we're seeing in the letters, which again hints at the fact that these are people, ex-employees trapped inside the bodies of the monsters looking to escape. All of this points to Poppy
Wait,
becoming our
what?
companion. Maybe she'll help us solve puzzles by getting into spaces that we
Who
can't,
did this
or
to
she'll
him,
be able
though?
to distract the monsters while we progress, or she'll just be our guide through the factory maze, kind of like GLaDOS the potato from Portal 2. But in some small way, I think that she's going to be helping us both save herself and all the others. So if Poppy is our helper, then who's our big bad? Well, remember the trailer? While discussing Huggy, it mentioned others. So did the VHS tape. We know that Huggy is experiment 1006, which, if this scientist has any respect for logical procedure, would imply that he's actually the 6th experiment they've created. Sure, they call him the prototype, but he's gained that name because, as the trailer said, he seems serviceable as the prime example for the type of vessel that we're trying to create. So they thought they'd got the experiment right that time, but clearly there were others
wrong.
before him, all with cognitive ability, but these ones are going to be hungrier. They're going to be more bloodthirsty than Huggy. Gotta admit, he was already pretty bad. So
What?
then who
No,
or
man.
what came before?
No
Well, during
way.
the course of the game, we're actually made aware of 5 other toys that Playtime creates: Candy Cat, Boogie Bot, Brawn, Cat Bee, and a pink version of Huggy, which we'll call Ms. Huggy. If
Cat
Huggy
Bee.
was experiment 1006 with 5 other toys available, I think it's likely that they're gonna be the monsters that show up in future chapters. But kicking us off in chapter 2, I believe, will be Cat Bee. Why? Well, because as much as there are references to all the other toys throughout the factory, Cat Bee's the one that has an active part
Hold
in
on.
this chapter of the story.
Where's
After getting the storeroom
Bunzo?
tape, we see a conveyor belt, which is covered in Cat Bee parts. Once we crawl through the vents, we end up at an assembly
Oh, this is
line.
only
Then
chapter
proceed to
1, I think.
activate and
Chapter 2 wasn't
create the
released
Cat
yet.
Bee toy. The others have all been background characters to the chapter, but we actively create
Candy Cat,
Cat
Brawn.
Bee, which seems like a metaphor for the humans creating monsters, and that points me in the direction of Cat Bee being our next big bad. But all of it leaves me with one final question. Clearly, Poppy put Playtime on the map in the 1960s, based on the vintage style of the Poppy ad and the fact that the ad is actually in color, which is something that wasn't available until the 1960s. Huggy Wuggy was invented in 1984, after Poppy. So if Poppy was a human experiment and she was perfect, then why are Huggy and all the other experiments then monsters? Well, my theory is that Poppy was a human experiment done back in the 1960s and was a roaring success, but the secret to how it was done was kept under wraps. And as dolls came out of fashion, the company had to evolve, creating new colorful toys like Candy Cat and Huggy Wuggy. We can see, based on the toy packaging, that this went on for some time. Huggy's packaging is very similar to those of the 1980s. Boogie Bot and Candy Cat look much more like toys from the early 2000s. Clearly, the company was able to survive for a long time, but it wasn't enough to keep the company afloat, and so someone in the factory decided to pursue new innovations to bring Playtime Co. back to its former glory. Innovation is key, after all, as we see in one of the death screens. Without any knowledge of how they managed to successfully create Poppy, the scientists get to work trying to recreate the magic. Toys that would come to life, acting like pets for children, bring them joy. Once again, they succeed in creating something organic, but they miss the one human element that made the original Poppy experiment successful: willingness. Stella was the perfect subject. She seemed like she'd be over the moon with living forever as a child. However, our scientists may not have known about Stella and what made her, and therefore Poppy, special. I bet you that characters like the disgruntled storeroom worker Rich that we meet in the tapes are people that have been turned into these monstrous toys. He doesn't seem all that pleased with the company making his life difficult, and we know that although they may have a clean, sparkly outward image, Playtime don't tend to treat their employees very well. Wouldn't be too hard to believe that they saw the tape of Rich complaining and decided he needed to be disciplined in a very special way. But Rich doesn't have that childlike wonder of Stella or that natural love of toys, and so when he gets made into one, he becomes a monster. The experiment backfires and starts killing the employees. The scientist locked himself away in the same room that we found Poppy. She was patient 0, locked away in the case to protect and study her, until of course we come along and set her free. There you have it, friends, my predictions for Poppy Playtime. Was I right? Was I wrong? Guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. But hey,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Yo, that was a great video right there. I wouldn't be surprised if that's really the case, bro. But hope you guys enjoy. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. I'm gonna leave the link to the original video in my description, so you guys go check that out. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Peace out.